Which KPIs would you say that are
You can go from
keys, really keys in particular for DevOps and not for other?
Basically, anything that can be measured actually can be used. So it can go from the application on production, saying we are more performant. You can see that we didn't break production when we delivered. There's no downtime. The end user experience, so the API are responding correctly, the interface is properly. But you can also apply it on, for example, the delivery time. So the moments between you commit something and the commit is actually delivered to production, you can measure that and say, okay, this is actually the time we take from one commit to production. And then you measure it going down or up, and you say, okay, we have a problem here or there. You can measure each step, saying, we committed at this time, we build at this time, we deliver at this time. Oh, we had a manual action, that's why it was saved. You can measure that. You can measure the number of commits, the number of regression, anything that can be measured. Tools like GitLab, for example, you can have a lot of indication of it, like all the merge requests that are done, all the issues, how they are solved. Graphs are everywhere, in Jira. So don't focus on the application on production, but any indicator that you can have on the project can be used. From the way you code to the way it's delivered to the final rendering on the servers.
Is there a typical team size, let's say 8 people, or maybe 20 is too much, 5 is too few?
So, actually, yeah, agility is around, I think it's now 3 to 9, something like that. The idea is that it's not only one team. It's all the persons that are working on the project that needs to be involved. So I'd say teams needs to be like in a human size, but you can have human sized team working all together. So you can have one team of 5, one team of 5, one team of 5. Mm-hmm. It is just that they unify everything. So when someone is talking to another team, they speak the same language. So again, team size as agility, but as it's like team communication, intercommunication. If you have all the teams that are agile or this kind of size, I guess it's good.
And the team has to be constant, or you can fluctuate, you bring people in when you need extra?
It's easier if the team is stable, because people bond together. And you have, when you bring a team together, basically you're going to have a stable period, and then it's going to go really bad. And then only people are going to really learn to work together, and then it's going to go good again, and it's going to go better, of course. I guess that's why a stable team is better, because you can also know what's happening and build on that. But having fresh blood out regularly, it's also going to force you to say, okay, we have a new guy now, so how am I going to go sharing this knowledge, to him? So it's going to also force you to be completely clear and the most exhaustive possible on the project. So I guess kind of in the middle, just more stable the team is, the better, but some fresh blood from time to time is really good too. Like interns or small contracts, stuff like that.
Yeah, I mean, our operations is in a 7/24 environment. We see there's some difficulties in combining people who are really on shift and then working 7/24 with developers who work 9 to 5.
That's also a wall confusion, basically, the shifts. That can also be it. Yeah. And again, that people need to work on the same page. The idea is just like, it's common sense, basically what I told. It's just like being catalyzed together, like bringing all tools that were existing together from agility or other like lean, etc. Again, there's no secret apart. People need to want also to change into that direction. If people don't want to change and make the effort of working together and being willing to do some effort, at least in the beginning, make some sacrifice to go in the good direction, there's nothing you can do. Mm-hmm. You cannot force them. I don't know if you had some cases of problems or.
Yeah, we see that. I think marrying a 7/24 environment with a development environment is relatively difficult.
Yeah. I guess the developers also have to take conscience of the operation that are.
Actually not.
Maybe making, if the developers want it, of course, but saying, oh, maybe as developer you can make a shift from time to time. And then they would realize
that
that
would bring an advantage. It's also good for
Yeah.
the quality.
And
yeah.
they can exchange with the team saying, oh, as a developer, I have this constraint from you, but okay, you give me this constraint, but you know, they can exchange. Maybe that's the best thing. Bring people together. That's the only solution. But again, yeah, they need to be convinced and also realize that that it's gonna be beneficiary to them. It's good for them if they share it and to communicate with the other team.
In your experience, what are the best communication channels, face-to-face, or do you use
Face-to-face is
communities?
always the best, but trace everything. When I was working on my previous team, basically we had the Jira and an internal tooling for problems. Every time I made any tickets on issue or whatever, I called or got to see the person. Just to say, hey, I did this ticket and I wanted to explain to you, you know, no rush or rush, depending on the criticality. But the person is not like, oh, I gave me a ticket again, or whatever. You know, you give this good impression. But yeah, don't yell at the person when you call him, of course. But it's always good to speak to the person. Or even when you say you create tickets for the week, and then once a week you go see and you explain everything, and you say, okay, I created this to be traced, and then we can explain everything. And then we good. It's always, you know, having this second channel, it's always good, because only text, people are going to misinterpret it.
In terms of the organization, how do you see that? You have separate dev teams and ops teams that need to discuss in given meetings, or you create end-to-end team that have both DevOps and devs?
That's going to be your vision again. That's the part of stuff that you cannot say it has to be like 2 teams, 1 big team, whatever. Sometimes the best is to have 1 team of 20 persons that do from business to ops, and they have QA security because the project suits it. Sometimes you're going to have 10 teams that needs to communicate. The idea is just to find this common channel and use it and be all okay on that. Because then when someone is going to ask something on one point, everyone can understand it.
I see the question, but how did you do that? You just figure it out how it
Same
works?
tool, at least.
Okay.
Meet them regularly. Don't just throw stuff. Because if you just say, that's my part, here, make yours, then you don't take part in the project anymore. You need people to be involved in it. Anything you do for the project is your responsibility, even if it's in production and you're just a business that sold something. If you sell something and say to the client, for example, oh yeah, no problem, you can do this button, like and do magic stuff. You have the responsibility because you accepted it. So even through the process to production, you are responsible for it because you accepted it. The developer who made it, he made the button, so he's responsible for it. It's not because he threw it to the ops that it's not his problem anymore. It's his button, so it goes into production. And the ops are maintaining it, so they are responsible for it to be working. So everyone is working on it. The security to ensure that you don't have any injection or whatever with the form is responsible for it from the moment it has been conceived, because they are to be worked with. The architect, anyone is involved through this whole process.
How do you actually deal with dependencies between different teams in terms of DevOps and in terms of releasing a product to production? In case you have a dependency with an external team or a different internal team within the organization.
Yeah, if it's really different project or working on the same project.
Yeah, for example, within the same project.
Yeah. Again, if you mean, for example, 2 development teams that work. Again, those teams need to work together. It's 2 silos. The idea is to merge them a little bit more. It's going to be still 2 teams. You cannot have like 1 team of 100 persons. That's not humanly possible. But if both teams work on the same Jira, for example, they meet together. Sometimes they have like the managers that meet, or the project owners that meet regularly. All the kind of stuff that makes them, feel as part of the same business line, to the same goal of the same product. And if they realize that and they take conscious of it, it's going to be easier.
In practice, how do you do to make people convinced that DevOps and that one business line and one workflow is the best? How do you make people work together?
Just really, it's gonna have to be indeed a process, and people need to say, okay, we have problems, we want to improve on that. and we are ready to make efforts on that. That's the first step. Then you bring them together. You say, okay, we're gonna have to use the same tool. For example, your team is using a Trello, this team is using a Jira, this team is using a Kanban. Okay, organize together. And then make them communicate, make them share objectives, make them work together on problems. They have a new feature, make them work with ops to say, okay, how are we going to build that? Is this okay with the infrastructure? We're going to need, for example, space on this. And okay, is that okay? How can we make that? It's going to be little by little. You're going to have to make them work together. And you're going to go slowly. You know, they're going to be together. But they need also to want this. That's the first step, to go into that. After that, yeah, it's small steps, tools, automation, verifications, infrastructure as code, stuff like that for the ops, build times every time a commit is made, more for the developers. And that's gonna make them, go smoothly, meaning there's gonna be less just throw to the other team. It's just gonna cut some of the obvious problems you can have. And from there, it's just continuous improvement. There's no secret formula, but human logic to work together. Just realize you're on the same project. The end user is going to be here anyway. If you're not agreeing, the client doesn't care.